This is 7 Million Bikes, a Saigon podcast. Thank you very much for listening. This is episode 10, which is going to be the final episode of season 5. So if you've been listening, I hope you've enjoyed it. We're going to take a short break and then we'll get back with season 6 as soon as possible. I already have most of the guests lined up, but in the meantime, we'll put out some compilation episodes to keep you entertained from the previous season. And if you've got any idea for someone you'd like to hear on 7 Million Bikes, then feel free to drop me a message with that suggestion. And also remember, if you're in Saigon, then make sure you come along to a comedy show. You can see all the events on 7millionbikes.com. And if you do come along, make sure you come and say hello. I always love meeting people who listen to the podcast. Now, we have a great guest today to finish the season. She's a German Vietnamese DJ who's just been featured in Vice magazine. We talk about the music scenes in Berlin and Glasgow, what it means to be Bavarian, why she came to Vietnam, and I asked a question that everyone wants to know. Does she play Vienna House? I want to give a shout out to Lewis Wright, the producer of 7 Million Bikes, a Vietnam podcast. Lewis has been involved since the very, very first day of 7 Million Bikes. He was helping me with the sound with the first microphone that I'd bought. He was the second ever guest I recorded. His wife was the first, and both of those episodes were just test episodes that we were doing in my front room just to see how we could make the sound as good as possible, which has always been a big goal of mine and something that Lewis has helped with. And so those 2 test episodes went on to become the 2nd and the 6th episode of season 1. So go back and listen to them if you can. As I said, they were just meant to be testing the sound, and they were so interesting that they ended up becoming full episodes. And since then, we've become even closer with Kim and Lewis, and we were at their wedding just last year. And I want to give a big thank you to Lewis for everything he does for the show. He's a super talented music producer. He makes his own tracks, he makes remixes, as well as doing music production, sound engineering, and he even makes music videos as well. So he made the COVID-19 music video that you can check out on my YouTube channel, and he's just done one for the local band The Cards. Shout out to Adam and Ben. So make sure you check out his Facebook page, Lewis Wright Music Producer. It's in the show notes. If you're ever needing any of that type of work, then make sure you get in touch with Lewis. If you do enjoy this content, then please think about becoming a member of a Vietnam podcast on Patreon. Again, the link is in the show notes. If you become a member, you'll get access to exclusive content. You'll also get episodes a day earlier than anyone else, and you'll also get free tickets to comedy shows. Or if you want to buy me a coffee or a beer, you can do that too on coffee.com. Again, the link is in the show notes. Thank you to Brandon Thompson and Zion Johnson for supporting on Patreon from the beginning. And I've just been bought another coffee today from Tang, all the way in Berlin. So thank you very much again. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. As you know, if you listen to this podcast, my Vietnamese is terrible. So I hope you've enjoyed this season. I hope you enjoy this episode. Please feel free to send me a message on Instagram or Facebook. I love to hear from people and I will always respond. Thanks. Welcome to the final episode of season 5, 7 Million Bikes, a Vietnam podcast. I'm very excited to introduce my guest today. She is a DJ, an event producer, German Vietnamese, and has just been featured in Vice magazine in an article about young artists shaping Saigon's creative underground scene. So welcome to the show, Levi Oi.
Hello.
Thank you very much for joining.
Very happy to be here.
So tell us a bit about the article that's just come out. It's very exciting.
Very. I'm really pumped about it. The interview actually was done 2 months ago, but the article was just released, so I'm really, really happy about it. I still can't believe it.
So tell us about then, what does that mean, shaping Saigon's underground scene? Tell us more about the scene.
Actually, I did not really know the caption of the article. We just had the interview first about the quarantine here and the situation during the lockdown. But then Vietnam also, changed a bit in the last weeks and months and years. So the article was then focused on the underground scene here. And we basically talked about the music industry, the music scene, and which artists I really like, who inspired me in the past, and which artists are shaping the scene now in Saigon. And yeah, it was really interesting to talk about music, and also other artists were interviewed who shape the fashion industry here. So I think underground is not just music here. It's basically, everything like art, culture, music, fashion.
Yeah, the article did feature models and fashion designers and things like that. So I guess it wasn't technically all underground. But tell us about the music scene in Saigon, because it's something we've brought up on the podcast before. And for me, from my point of view, I'm like an indie fan. You know, I grew up listening to Oasis and rock and roll and things like this. So I'm not like immersed in the DJ culture here so much, so I don't really know much about that. I do love like electronic music. Like I also grew up with the Chemical Brothers. Like they're my favorite. Chemical Brothers and Oasis to me, like I could just listen to them all day, every day. So I love electronic music, like Fatboy Slim as well. He's another one of my like favorite artists of all time. But I don't seek electronic music out so much. Like I don't go to clubs. I don't really listen to it that much, even though I love it. So I'm such a novice, almost like I don't even know the difference between techno and house and trance and all of this stuff. I think I kind of like it all, but I couldn't tell you what's the difference. So tell us a bit about the scene here in Saigon, the different types of music. And very, very important question. Do you make Vina house?
I think I need to pick up on the last question. I don't make it myself yet, but first when I arrived here, I was like, oh, that's so weird, that music, you know? Like, we all think about it like, who came up with this? The lyrics and like the beat, it's sometimes a bit too much, but now being here, I need to really embrace it, I think, because it's part of the culture. And maybe I wouldn't make this type of Wiener house, but I would maybe make something a bit with a twist.
So for anyone who's listening who doesn't really know what Wiener house is, what is Wiener house and why were you laughing when I asked that question?
Because Wiener house is Wiener house is basically Vietnamese house music. And it's basically one part is the vocal, which is usually like a very like dramatic love, like heartbreaking song, you know, like the lyrics are really like heartbreaking. And then you have like the beat, which is very kind of aggressive and pushing. So people are getting into the mood, getting into party mood. And it's very repetitive. So extremely repetitive. Even like someone who doesn't know about music, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've overheard it in shops or wherever I am, and I'm like, is this same song going on for 15 minutes? What's happening?
The beat is going on for 15 minutes or 10 minutes, and the lyrics are basically a whole track of like that, like ballad or like love song.
And I don't even speak the language, but I can hear that it's like some tragic love song going on.
Like,
So it's
na, na, na.
Yeah. So you don't make Wiener house. So then go back to my earlier kind of long drawn out question. Tell us about the different styles of music, the scene here in Saigon. What's that like?
So what I've also said in the interview is that the songs or like the music industry here is very diverse. So there are different genres here. And when I first came here, I was really surprised because I came from Berlin. So you have a lot of techno music there. Techno's like that's like the music and love language in Berlin. And when I came here, I was like, I miss it so much. There's nothing like techno. There is techno, but not that much. So I had to open up a bit to the music industry and music scene here. And I went to a lot of like, I know, like trap and like other like Vietnamese styles, Vietnamese kind of like house music, techno, or mostly there are like a lot of like, now it's a lot of hip hop and rap because of like the rap shows here. So I really had to open up my mind. I was like, okay, Levi, you can't just be like, oh, I'm like from Berlin, so I need to listen to techno. But I need to really open up. And I think I've really discovered a lot of cool artists here who inspired me also to just, do my thing and believe in my music, but also really support each other. Because imagine I would just be in my techno world of like 3 people like who listen to that. That's not, really want to reach everyone with my music and touch everyone without, of course, losing my main core of music and style.
So what is the difference between techno, house? What are the other variations of electronic music?
So when you go back in history, so house music, first there was disco. From disco, house music developed, and from house music, techno developed. And so where techno was developed is Detroit, and Chicago shaped basically house music. And after that, from Detroit techno, it went to the UK, and it became acid house over there because of like the parties. So the party scene shaped also the music scene. And then in Germany, some like this like, you know, Kraftwerk.
Mm-hmm.
So they also experiment experimented a bit with music and techno, and basically they also shaped the techno music, and then it got again exported to the US. And I think it's so interesting. I think there's just like one guy probably who had like some records, and then he traveled, and then they found it really cool, and then they took some drugs, and I think it's so interesting how music developed. And in Vietnam, I really want to also discover how Wiener House got developed, or how it became what it is now. And I heard that it's just like a couple of DJs who were just, how can we make our music club like?
Do you think they've made a beat and fell asleep?
Yeah, they think so. They just had like, okay, we have those love songs. What can we do with them? How can we make them, because everyone loves them, how can we make them suitable for the clubs? And I think there was just like one guy who, I don't know, who maybe experimented a bit with that and said, let's just put a beat on it, and then just like loop it for like 3 hours and make a track and make like a Wiener House mix. And okay, how can we sell it? How can we make it worth a business? Let's just put a girl there who has like, looks beautiful, and then we just let her play the music. I think Vietnamese people are very business minded, and that's why I think Wiener House got so big, because you can sell it so well in everywhere.
Now, I'm glad you brought this point up, because this is the one question I've been dying to ask you. I was so excited. I was like, I've got a DJ on the show. I'm going to ask this question, right? You've just brought it up. Now, I don't know anything about DJs. I don't know much about electronic music, as I've clearly showed already. Now, in Vietnam, if anyone who's listening who's not from Vietnam, it's very common. You go to a bar or a club or somewhere, and there will be a beautiful girl behind a DJ booth, sometimes scantily clad, sometimes not. Yeah. And I would just see her like fiddling knobs and moving things and doing this and that. And I've literally been at places and I stare and I'm like, is she affecting the music? I know so little about electronic music. I'm staring going like, right, she just moved something. Did that do something to the music? And I can't figure it out. And so my question, and I've been dying to know this for so long, is she actually DJing, or is that just a USB stick and she's pretending to DJ?
I've also been asking that a lot of times, because I've been to the local clubs here, and I don't want to say it. I don't know. I don't want to be the person, she doesn't play music properly. I think a lot of times it's very simple to DJ sometimes, when you have you can already prepare a mix, and then you can just stand there and pretend to play. Now, in the clubs where I play, it's not like that. I think they really...
I would imagine the clubs you're at, it's not, but I mean like the other kind of clubs.
I think in beer clubs, where it's really about commerce and about making a lot of money. I think the girl really has to... attract those customers who are willing to pay maybe more money. I really need to discover more in that.
It's so disappointing. I thought you were going to give me the definitive answer. I've been wanting this answer for so long.
The DJs have a different role here in Vietnam, for sure. Or in the traditional clubs. It's not, for example, where I'm from, or in Germany, or probably in a lot of countries, the DJs are there to curate and to really educate the people about music. Not educate, but show them something new, or sharing feelings with their music, And in a lot of clubs, it's more about making money and making people drink more, which is actually the traditional sense of a DJ, right? The DJ's role is to bring the people and make the business roll and let the business make money. But I think in developing countries like Vietnam, it's really still it's very strong, this mindset of DJ has to bring people, right? Sometimes you just book the DJ to really surprise people, to educate them.
I mean, I've seen businesses put ads out saying, we're looking for beautiful young girls who can DJ.
Yeah, and that's, sometimes still sad. And I've always also had an interview with a female newspaper here, Vietnamese one, and they also asked the same question, what made it so hard for me to become a DJ here? I think I'm lucky because my music is very underground, so I don't need to really I don't really want to be I want to just dress up and wear nothing and play there to make money. No, it's for me, it's really about the music. And if you look good, it's in plus, but it shouldn't really dictate your music. And
have you ever been approached about that or asked about that? Like, we want you to come play, but can you wear a bikini? Things like that?
I think never.
No, that's good then, yeah.
Really never. And I think Vietnamese people, like, in general, are very respectful towards women, I think. But
and I know you're in a different scene. Like, I know that you're not like the kind of like, I'm going to go and do a beer hall DJ. You're
exactly. Although it's kind of like my dream to host like a really big techno party in a beer club, but with my crowd, you know?
Nice.
Because those, I don't know like why, but those beer clubs have the best lighting system. Like some, and some, it's just like, yeah, the lighting is so dope and like, it's so big. So you do like a rave in a beer club would be really my dream. Like, really, like one day, guys, one day, let's do it.
Now, to go back a little bit, what was the name of that band that you just said, the influential band from Germany?
Kraftwerk.
Now, this made me laugh because I'm going to say the same band name, but in my accent.
Okay.
This is how I call them.
How would you call them?
Kraftwerk.
Kraftwerk.
I thought you might laugh at that. Kraftwerk. Is that how you would do it? Yeah, so totally different. So you're German Vietnamese. So tell me about that.
So I was born in Germany in like a very small Bavarian town. And I was always the only one, like with my brother. We're the only Vietnamese. And I went to school there. And then I moved to Berlin to study international business and marketing. Yeah, like a lot of Vietnamese who study business, right? Vietnamese, Germans. And then, yeah, what can I say? Basically I'm German. I feel very German sometimes. Yeah. Although I don't really want to be too German when I'm here in Vietnam, but it always comes through.
Well, I actually did a show this week, a comedy show I did a comedy performance for the German Business Association. So I met a lot of Germans, obviously, and I met a guy. He was from Bavaria, actually, and he was telling me that Bavaria is similar to Scotland and that Bavaria is kind of very different. It's not, they almost feel like they're not part of Germany. Is that right?
Absolutely. Like when I say, yeah, I'm from Bavaria, it's like, okay, so you're not from Germany. Or like, my part of Bavaria is also like, it's really funny because Bavarians sometimes don't have the best reputation in Germany. For example, in Berlin, everyone's like, oh, okay, you're from Bavaria. So it's kind of like, because it's like a very, I know, like there's like a cliche that Bavarians are like very hardworking and very strict and very like formal. And in Berlin, people, and Bavaria people think that Berlin people don't work and they're lazy. I don't know. So, or also when you do like Abitur, it's like the A levels, like the high school degree. When you do in Bavaria, it means like, wow, okay, you do really well. Like you're really smart and stuff. It's just so stupid. But I think it's really funny because for me, growing up in Bavaria, I feel like it's very German. I think it's the most German part for me in Germany, Bavaria.
This show that I did, my opening line basically was, this is the most German event, the most German thing I've ever done. They gave you the run sheet at the beginning of the show, and there was some comedy, there was some acrobatics, there was singing, and it was literally like 8:01, you will perform. 8:11, you will finish. Next act, 8:11 to 8:13, 8:13 to 8:19, whatever, you know what I mean? It was literally like minute by minute, and it went like clockwork. I was like, this is the most Germanly efficient event I've ever done.
That's really German. I really like, sometimes I'm like, wow, I can feel that I'm really German because I kind of like this stuff, but I also like kind of, oh my God, it's too much, you know, like so German. But it helps really, I think, if you have the mindset, but you should like, I am not planning my day like that, but it helps a lot to be sometimes a bit like strict.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was brilliant. The event went like clockwork. Yeah. You know, I feel like there's other events, probably my events as well. I think, we'll get started when we're ready, you know. Like, that's often my events. We put down, doors open 7:30, show starts 8:30, 8:45, nobody's there. 9 o'clock, 9:15, it's starting to fill up. And you're like, I put on the event, doors open at 7:30, show starts at 8:30 still. Just last week, same thing. Show's meant to start at 8:30. And 2 people left because they were like, when's the show starting? I was like, sorry, we're still having to wait for everyone. Because we knew people were coming and it ended up filling up. But Vietnam time is different to German time, right?
It's so hard for me. Like every time when I come, like in the beginning when I moved here, like always like was on time. Like if someone says 7 p.m., I'm like there at like 6:59 or like 6:57 something.
Yeah.
And people show up at 7:45, maybe 1 hour later, and I'm like, oh my God, I had to really get used to the timing here. Because I said that to a friend of mine, when you come late in Germany, you lose your friends. Like people are really not very, like when you come late, like too many times and very late, yeah, you make enemies with that, for sure.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, I was telling this story last night to a friend about the German efficiency. She was American and she didn't know that stereotype. She's like, what? And I was like, yeah, like German efficiency. Like maybe because I'm British,
Yeah.
we know this, German car making or whatever it is. Like it's, and one thing I remember a German friend told me was, this when I lived in Australia, they were really shocked that when they were going through the checkout in the supermarket that the cashier is so friendly. And it's the same in the UK. They'd be like, hey, how's your day going? Are you all right? What are you up to? In Scotland especially, you'll be best friends within a minute. You'll be talking about your auntie's dead dog and things like that. But he was saying in Germany, he found that so shocking that Australians were so friendly, because in Germany, when you go to the supermarket, the cashier just like puts your groceries through, gives you your money and you're gone. And it's not ruder. It's just like, you're nodding your head, so is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We don't really need Germans are not really into small talk. And also at the supermarket, it's very, no, they just do their job. But of course, on the countryside where I'm from, of course, you would ask, because they know you, but it takes the time. It takes a long time to let people warm up in Germany, or German people warm up. And I think when I moved to Vietnam, I think I was never shy. So for me, I always do small talk and I like to be open-minded. But German people in general are, but I think a bit closed-minded. Not sometimes, but later when they open up, they're really open.
I mean, I think that's kind of like the stereotype of German, right? Really like stiff back and, but I mean, the German people I've met in my lifetime are amazing. They're like the funniest, craziest people. Like, they're really fun people. They don't match the stereotype at all.
Yeah, I think when the people I don't know, maybe because where I'm from, the people are usually very kind of traditional, but Germans who travel or Germans who live abroad are usually very open-minded.
And maybe that's the difference, because there's a difference between, even I find with Americans who've traveled and moved abroad are very different to Americans who've never left America. And probably the same with Scottish and in every country as well. But any German I've met,
Germans are crazy. I agree. Very.
Always had a good time. So tell us about Berlin, because I do know I used to work with a DJ in New Zealand, and he would go to Berlin every year. He was I don't know if he was a techno DJ or a house DJ, but he was a DJ, and he would go to Berlin. And I know that's one of the kind of capitals of the DJ. How do you say it? I don't want to say the wrong thing. House capital of the world, trance capital of the world. How would I say capital of the world?
I think Berlin for me is the techno club capital capital of the world. The amount of clubs that you have in Berlin that play techno music is insane. And also house music and just not clubs, but parties in general.
That's what I've heard. Really liberal population as well.
Liberal, started back in the past with the Love Parade, and all those street festivals, street parades for the 1st of May, for Labor Day, or just for everything. You have carnival, not just in Berlin, but in the whole country. We really are into festivals, little parties. And I mean, Berlin became such a techno capital, club capital, because after the wall came down, people really, I think techno liberated them also and made them really it's like a music of freedom for me. When you go into a techno club, no one really cares who you are. You just go in there and you just leave your phone. Now in most of the clubs in Berlin, you're not allowed to take pictures. So they just you have the sticker on your phone, and everyone is respecting the rule. You're not there's no one who's going around taking videos and Snapchatting or Instagram stories. No, it's just you go in, you leave your phone behind, and you just go in there, enjoy the music, make friends, do what you want. People Berlin clubs. It's, of course, they wouldn't support people who are getting too.
Enjoying themselves too much.
Exactly. Yeah. But everyone's respectful, and I really like that. So that's why I think DJs also have a really great experience to DJ there. people who go clubbing, who want to listen to good music, know that when they go there, because the DJ have so much fun and they really want to educate people, it's a really good match. And the clubs also have a good landscape because you can chill outside next to the river, or you can have like this room where they only play like dark techno, or like outside they play house music. Or you have open airs in Berlin in the summer, everyone's drinking beer, chilling, like this vibe I think is unique in the whole world.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I mean, so I'm from Glasgow, and we had a really good scene as well. So when I was growing up, as I said, I was mostly into kind of indie rock and roll music, but I did love like dance music, techno music as well. We had some really cool clubs. We had the Archies, which was this club that was underneath the railway bridge. So it was like in an archway, the archway of the railway bridge. And that was a really cool club, and I went back to Scotland recently, and I went back with my friend. It's changed now. It's all kind of like gentrified almost. It got closed down, I think, drugs and all that stuff, problems. But now it's like the archways, but it's like food trucks and beer and things like this. And it's like real family friendly. So I went there with my friend and we had like this gourmet burger and craft beer. And I was like, this is mental. We used to come here when we were like 19, just like marching and just having the best time ever. I was like, I feel so old now. I'm like 20 years older and it's now all beer trucks and food trucks. Like this is so different. But we had a really, really cool scene in Glasgow from dance music, techno music, things like that.
I heard about this club called Sub Club.
Sub Club, yeah, I remember
and
Sub
I really
Club.
Want to play there.
I doubt it's still open. I don't think I ever went to Sub Club. There was like I said, I wasn't really into the scene. Like I enjoyed the music, loved it. I couldn't probably tell you almost one DJ or artist, you know what I mean? Like, so I was really into my indie music, but I always loved it. I loved when I lived in Australia, I would always go to Future Music. I don't know if you've heard of this festival. It's one of my favourite festivals. I saw Chemical Brothers there back in 2008, I think it was, with my friend Mary. And it was still, to this day, I remember one of the best nights of my life. It was Chemical Brothers' album had just come out. I think it's called Further. 2011, I think it was, maybe. 2011, that album came out 2011. And they're my favourite Chemical Brothers.
I like them too.
Yeah. And their visuals and things like that are just, like, if you've seen them live before?
Never actually, no. Unfortunately not.
Yeah, they're really, really good. So I'm going on about them too much. But yeah, we had a cool scene in Glasgow. So you're from Berlin. Now, so you lived through the fall of the Berlin Wall?
No, so I was born and raised in Bavaria, but 2011, I moved to Berlin to study, right? And I left Bavaria because it just got a bit, not boring, but I wanted to see something new. And I've always wanted to travel. Like since I'm little, I really love traveling. And because for my studies, I applied everywhere, a bit further away from home. And when I got accepted at the university in Berlin to study international business, I was like, it was kind of like a door for me for freedom and to be free and to do my thing. And I didn't know anyone in Berlin back then. I didn't have any friends. I was just like, okay, let's just go there. I don't know. So I moved there, and then I fell in love with Berlin so much and met a lot of other Vietnamese German friends, because back in Bavaria, I was the only one. So that was also really a great experience. And I don't know, I think that also was the reason why I got much more connected with my Vietnamese roots.
And so how did your parents are both Vietnamese? And I learned from the episode we've just recorded previously with Nguyen Mai, which I think you've listened to some of. So her parents, one of them moved to Germany before they moved to Switzerland, and they came over because before Germany reunified, I didn't know this, the eastern side of Germany would bring over Vietnamese people, which would make sense because they're both communist countries. Was that a similar story for your parents, or how did your parents end up in Germany?
So my parents moved to Russia first and then came to Germany after.
Which I didn't know until recently, that Russia and Vietnam had such a massive connection, which again, it makes sense because they're two communist countries. So yeah, my friend told me all about the connection between Ukraine and Russia, and I didn't realize any of that.
Yeah. I don't know why my parents probably were like me. They were like, oh, okay, we want to go to Russia, let's go. And like it was on the way probably to Germany, and they just also went on an adventure because they wanted to leave Vietnam and start a new life.
Right. And what did your parents do then when they moved to Russia and then Germany?
That's a really good question. So they were telling me they were just like doing business there. I think it's just like Russia is more like they try to trade, or also like my father was giving Russian lessons because he was like a translator. So he still speaks a bit of Russian. And I think they just wanted to save money to go to Germany too. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I just have such a Western-centric point of view. So when I met a few people who were like, yeah, I speak Russian, or my partner speaks Russian, or I was like, Vietnamese speak Russian? At first I found it so strange. I was like, what is the connection? And then, of course, I was like, oh, duh, like the communist connection. So there's quite an exchange between the two countries, right? So how did you get into DJing from marketing, studying marketing and business? You're like every single person in the world. We talked about this on an episode recently. There's almost nobody that uses their degree, right? My degree's in sport and exercise science, you know. So how did you go from marketing and business to DJ?
Wow, that's a long haul, but I've always really loved electronic music. Since I moved to Berlin in 2011, the first time I stepped into a club, I was like, okay, I love it so much. I love raving, I love clubbing, I love techno. But I never really thought, like, when you're so young and you just come to a new city, you don't really think that this is your job, you know? Like, it's only my passion. I don't really know what to do with it. And also, when you're younger, you're more focusing on, serving society by like studying, doing your degree, and also Vietnamese parents. You know, you want to like do your thing and show them you do well here. You know, they went so far. Now you need to also prove. And I really loved my degree, actually, because I had met so many great friends there, and also friends that I still have until today, like best friends. Because I also did, like, the degree was really cool because I did 1 year of study in Berlin, then 1 year of study in Cambridge in the university, which was located in Cambridge, then 1 year of internship where I went to Vietnam, like to Saigon, and did my internship with MTV. I went to Dubai to work for the German Chamber of Commerce. And then I went to Australia. I did like 3 internships in 1 year because I just wanted to travel. And I worked for like Schenker. It's like a shipment. They do like international shipments. And then I went back to Berlin to finish my degree. So I chose that degree because I knew I would have like crazy experiences with that. And all of that really shaped my path until today, because I think, first of all, of the people I've met who really got me more into my music. And we just went traveling to go to really great parties. I met a lot of DJ friends who also trying to teach me to DJ, but I never really thought, okay, now I'm going to be a DJ. You know, it was always there with me, very close, but never that I said, okay, this is like my path. So I went, after my studies, I went to London also to work there I worked like in a tech company, like very far away from my actual path. But I've always felt that I've never really reached what I really want to do. I never really found my passion. So I said, okay, I think I need to break, or I need to just stop. So I said, okay, Vietnam, Saigon was kind of the number one like highlight of my whole time. So I think I need to go back there and just find back my roots. And maybe when I really go deep into myself, that I find what I really want. And then I quit my job in London. I went to Berlin, packed my stuff, and then I just moved to Vietnam with like a suitcase and no idea. I had no job, nothing.
How long ago was this?
To the end of 2018. And all of my friends actually were really supportive, and also my family. I think they already knew that everything that I've done so far wasn't really fulfilling me that much. And Saigon or Vietnam has always been like my like number one spot, because I've always been back in Vietnam because of my family in Hanoi.
I was going to ask, where are your parents' families
from Hanoi. From Hanoi. That's why like every year we went to Hanoi.
Right.
Like, and my dad's from Hai Dương. So we like northern basically.
Was that not a massive disappointment then that you said, I'm moving to Saigon?
Yeah, a bit, I think. Everyone knew because, Saigon is like such a hot spot. And I was like, wow, I need to go back there. It's so amazing. And
So what was your parents' reaction to that? Because just in the last episode, as I said, I was interviewing Nhi Mai, who's Swiss Vietnamese. And I found it really fascinating that her parents were almost shocked and disappointed, I think would be the right way to say it, when she said she was moving to Saigon or back or to Vietnam, because for her parents, they'd made such a struggle to leave Vietnam and set up a new life in Europe. It almost feels strange that then your child wants to reverse that and go backwards. So now they completely understand it, and she's got loves her life here and is being more fulfilled and is exploring her roots. Did you have something similar or different? And then how's the transition been then coming back to Vietnam?
My parents actually were very supportive. They said from the beginning, okay, we're going to come later or we're going to support you in everything we do, because they also did the same. In my age, they also left Vietnam. And I think it would have been unfair for them to say, oh, yeah, you have to stay in Germany because we made it so far. No, like, it's my way. And I've always been a bit rebellious. My parents also know. So if they said, like, okay, you were not allowed to go, I would have still gone. So I think for them, it was really cool. And they really enjoy coming back here and visiting me too, and really support my DJ career too, because also I'm the only person in my family who's doing something with music. Like, my parents, I think, are in a way really proud. I mean, I'm really also happy about that. I think without the support of my parents, it would have been a bit harder. And coming also to Saigon with no plan, and then like getting more into music and really like involving myself in like music projects and stuff I really love, showed them also maybe less pressure is better, because back in the past, of course, when I was going to school, they were always like worried about my grades, of course, it's normal, I was always good at school, but Vietnamese parents have different standards, right? You need to have like A+ in math and stuff. So it's, I don't know. I think growing older, we understand each other much better. And my relationship with them also became much better since I moved to Vietnam, to be honest.
Awesome. So then how was that transition and moving to Saigon? How did you find that?
I've lived in Saigon for only 3 months before, and I've traveled Vietnam, but living here is a very different experience. It's just starting from, I know, just setting everything up here and like finding a place. But I think for me, because I've traveled and lived in many countries, it was not really hard to set myself up here, but to really get used to the speed of Saigon. I've underestimated it quite a lot when I came here.
This is a common thing of guests on the show or just friends I speak to. What you just said, the speed of Saigon, right? Like, it's just frenetic. It's just, and for anyone who's not been here, it's hard to explain until you get here. And for anyone who's been here or lives here that's listening, you know exactly what we're talking about.
So crazy. Like, I think for tourists who come here or friends who visit me here for like a week, they were like, oh my God, it's such a cool city. It's so dope. Yeah. Like, we love it. We want to live here. I'm like, yeah, live here.
Yeah.
You will get crazy after a while. That's why I need to always travel to other cities to just get like calm, or to go back to Hanoi to visit my family there, because I think it's like a hamster wheel here in Saigon. So many opportunities, so many people. It's very loud here, and people are never stopping and hardworking, and you always feel like you don't do enough here.
It's something my wife and I don't do enough. What you just said there, you need to leave every now and again, and we do try, but not enough, because we've had spells where like we need to get out of here. And I've talked about it again on the podcast before. We've now moved to a quieter area of Saigon now, so we live in District 2. So since then, that need to leave the city has probably lessened. But before, we lived in District 4, same as you, and that's just like the hotspot of freneticness, if that's an actual word. And you do have that, like, you need to get out. And it's something you see common in the expat groups as well. Where can I go for a hike? Where can I go for a walk? Because Saigon is so big and so sprawling. You got to go at least 2 or 3 hours before you get anywhere of some sort of calm, right?
Yes, I also just need to go out so much because it's getting really too crazy here. But that's why living in Tao Dien, I think, is a good, very good, good spot to chill out. That's why I really just like to spend time in Tao Dien, although I live in in District 4. And that's why I really like to go to Dalat or go like to Mui Ne, go surfing there, Dalat, we go hiking, because luckily some of my friends here are also really into outdoor stuff. And when I go running, I like to go to District 7 or go to Sala. There are some spots where you can chill, but you need to really plan those things a lot in ahead. You cannot just say, okay, I'm going to take a chill. No, you need to plan it, everything.
That's exactly right. It's not a great way to put it. Everything needs to be planned and thought out ahead. Because My wife and I always talk about when we lived in New Zealand before here, we lived in the CBD, like literally the center of Wellington, and a 10-minute walk, we could be in beautiful hillside forest, just unbelievable parrots and birds and wildlife and nature. And it's just, there's no planning. We could come home from work and be like, oh, it's a nice night. Want to go for a walk? Yeah, sure. And then you just go. Here,
yeah, I miss that sometimes. Like in Germany and Bavaria, I go like 5 minutes and I'm in the forest, like super big forest. I see like deers and like little animals, and I can just go running there. The air smells so good. That's why I couldn't have believed that I say that, but I really miss Germany. Like sometimes, I mean, just the fresh air, the food, not really the food, but like, for example, I was in Phuket and in Da Nang the last weeks, and I just went to like this German bakery and I bought like a pretzel. I would never do that like usually, but then I was just a bit homesick.
yeah.
And it felt kind of good to just reconnect a bit with home and to appreciate, like where you're from and where you are, and really like be grateful, I think, also for the journey. And
There's a few German spots here though in Saigon, right?
Yeah.
What places do you go regularly when you feel homesick?
Actually, I don't go to those places at all, I have to say. Only when I travel, because I think in Saigon, I really don't have as I said, Saigon is too fast. I don't really have time to miss home. Like I work or I just like engage my day-by-day daily task. But when I travel, I take more time to think. But actually, the place that has the best pretzel here is what is like this. It's like a delivery service here, Haubes. Very good. So I recommend it. It's not an ad, okay, guys, but I've just ordered pretzels there and they're really, really good.
No, we can give shout outs. That's fine.
Shout out to Haubes, guys.
We'll put the link in the show notes as well, so people can click it. So we'll put that in there as well. Well, the place I've been going to recently is the German Beer Hall in Tao Dien. So it's not really German in terms of food. It's all international food, but it's like a big beer hall. It's cool. Yeah, it's cheap beer as well. It's cool.
Need to go for sure.
Now, when you came to Saigon, then did you have the plan to become a professional DJ, like for that to be your career?
A very good question, actually, because I have not planned that out. That's not very German, but I've always wanted to DJ, but I've not. That's like really like you have this like idea of something, and the result and the way there was for me like, oh my God, like, oh, I can't be a DJ. Who can I be? But subconsciously, I always made decisions to bring me there. So I engaged in like a music project with Israeli DJs, where I was looking for traditional Vietnamese artists to record their music with Israeli techno. So I was co-producing like an EP to feature Vietnamese traditional artists and Israeli techno artists. And I think that was like my inspiration to also really go deeper into music. Like from Red Axis, we can maybe put a link there because the album is really, really amazing. Secondly, I've signed up the second time for like a DJ class, but this time I really like did like the whole course to really improve my DJ skills. And I started to just produce events and book DJs for my events. And one day I did an opening event for a bar in Saigon, and I booked this DJ. And so that's a very funny story. The DJ went to the bathroom, and I had my USB stick with me, and I just put my USB in the DJ controller. And when he came back after like 10 minutes, I was playing, and he was like, "Wow, you're really good." Like I was like, "It's okay." I was just like playing around when you were gone. And he was like, "Okay, come, we will practice more." And we practiced more and more, and I got more confident. And then this DJ booked me then for an event where he was like, or for the club where he was resident DJ. And I think that time when he booked me, I was like, okay, I think this is really what I really want to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just came step by step. So nothing is really like, I think when you have like something in your mind, it's really hard to really execute it. But if you make baby steps, I think that's the best way. Like don't like have this when you want to become a DJ, okay, you're gonna play in front of like a stadium now or in front of 2,000 people. No, just start small, like playing with your friends, or just get really like familiar with the controller and know your sound. I think there are so many ways just take baby steps.
And you mentioned a word earlier that resonated with me, and in your story right now as well, was opportunity. And it is one of the things in Saigon that draws so many people from within Vietnam and out with Vietnam is there is so much opportunity in Saigon right now because it's booming and it's busy and it's growing and developing, and there's a need for this new art, not just art, business, culture, everything it's right now. And it's part of the comedy scene is the exact same as well. It's just, there's and even the podcast scene as well. When I started my podcast nearly 2 years ago, I think there was one other podcast at the time. There was a Saigoneer podcast, which was pretty well established. And then within a few months of me starting, there was about 5 more podcasts, because obviously everyone was having the same idea at the same time. And then now, I think I mentioned to you earlier, I've just been put in this article about 7 million bytes as a trendsetter in podcasts in Vietnam, which blew my mind. I was like, wait, what? So that was really cool. But again, there was no real thought at the beginning when I started this that I was going to be, and it's still not a massive podcast, but it's pretty popular now, I think, from what I hear. So there's like these baby steps, and then things get bigger and bigger, right? And there is just so many opportunities here.
That's the good thing and the bad thing about Saigon, I think. But I also, every day I wake up, I'm like, oh my God, I could do so many things, or I could do this, and maybe I should go this, and that works really well for this person. I think you get really distracted here when you don't really know your path. And until today, I don't really know, okay, I'm going to be like this DJ, or I don't do this, but you need to really be focused here, I think. And that's what I really tell myself every day. I'm like, okay, you have 7,000 other ideas, but you have this one way which brought you which you really love and brought you that far. And I think keeping that in mind is really good, but always keep your eyes open for new opportunities. Not like close your eyes like, I just want to be like this DJ forever. Like maybe in 5 years I'm bored, or maybe I find something else. Or I think it's really important in Saigon to always keep your kind of eyes open, but really your mind and your soul, really keep it to what you really love.
So what's next for you? So I know you're doing some work with Lewis, who's a producer of 7 Million Bikes, and Lewis is so talented in so many ways, and I love working with Lewis. What are you working on with him, and what's next?
So I have really a lot of things I want to work on. That's why we come back to there are so many opportunities in Saigon. What has been really on my mind again is like producing events. I've neglected this a bit since I started more my DJing and really more being like this DJ persona. But what made me become a DJ is also like the events that I've been doing. So I started with doing events here, and then I graduated slowly into this DJ life. I really want to make kind of like unique experiences here, like combining music and art, and also like good food, drinks, just to have like a little festival vibe here. I don't know, because the weather is always good here, and in Germany people wait for the summer to do festivals, or to do parties, and in Vietnam we have good weather all year.
No seasons, it's always festival
weather. And I'm like, I also like this daytime thing. I'm really trying to do it, but for local Vietnamese, they don't really go out during the day, so it will be a bit hard. But I don't know, or sunset things. I really love it. Love the atmosphere for sunsets here in Vietnam too. It's beautiful. But I really also want to go more into production. In general, I think the next step for me is going to be production in every way.
And so what is you're working on with Lewis right now?
We're also going to work on some music together. But TBA.
TBA. Well, we'll put the link in the show notes for your SoundCloud. I love some of the names of your songs. So you had Pomelo Power, which I was listening to this morning. And you brought some pomelo with you today, which made me laugh when I was listening to Pomelo Power today. And you're like, do you want some pomelo? I was like, oh. She's laughing so hard right now.
Oh my God.
What are some of the other names of your tracks on SoundCloud?
It's like I love doing mixes, and every mix has like a different mood for me, because I think like one track has like one character, but when you put it together, it's like a whole story. And I love just like bringing like a vibe with my mixes. So one is like Hakuna Mimosa. It's like basically like kind of like you wake up and you drink like mimosa, you have like a good vibe, and it's like could be like in the morning, but also could be like you come back from a party, like music that brings you more power. Or Det Hit so is like okay, Ted is over. So it's like a mix set kind of finishing the festive vibe, but still bringing the party mood. I know, I just like to bring vibes with me.
Yeah. And the one
Good
that I
vibes.
saw as well made me laugh was Vietnamese.
Oh yeah, Vitamin C. That's the track I produced when I was in Nguyen. I was surfing there with some friends, and I was recording like some sea sounds, and I just really like to experiment with sounds. And I made like a track that is, when you listen to it, you just know that you're on like you're just on the beach or seeing the sunset. I haven't really like pushed my music, like my own producing music that much lately, because I'm still learning, but I really want to go more into it and record like sounds or also instruments from traditional musicians. But as I said, so many ideas.
Yeah. Well, I was listening to it, and I really enjoy it. Like, because I do like electronic music, and I was bopping along this morning. I'm so old, bopping along. I wasn't bopping along.
Bop
I was
is so
listening
fun,
to it, and it is really good. So we'll put that, your SoundCloud, in the show notes. So you mentioned sunset spots. Let's then move on then to the final questions of 7 Million Bikes, a Vietnam podcast, because one of those questions is, but we'll do it in the same order we do it every episode. So the first question is, and I still get this questioned on this all the time, why is the name of the podcast 7 Million Bikes? And some people don't believe me. There is over 7.5 million registered motorbikes in Saigon. That's the official statistics. There's over 45 million bikes in Vietnam. Road rules are more of a how would you say? Road rules are more non-existent. No, they're not non-existent, but they're more
cars coming. I don't know where the space is, to be honest.
No, I know the cars are
Like
crazy.
the cars are crazy. We should figure out the car numbers and add that, and then we see.
Yeah.
and then the bikes too, and then like the normal like bicycles. I mean,
Yeah.
bicycles.
Oh, geez, bicycles.
There's still some though. Like I still see them, and like old ladies cycling from D1 to D2. I'm like, girl, like good on you. With like this like crazy like baggage, you know. I don't know.
So what's your favourite unwritten rule of the road here?
So I haven't really... So I learned to drive the motorbike last week in Phu Quoc. So I can't really say I'm like a professional biker here in Saigon. But as I've just been on Grab bike, like for me, it's just like, I don't know, like... I have no rule. I just survive. I don't know. I have really no rule. Just don't die.
That's a great one. That is a great one. We'll take that.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That just came out like the first second for me. Like no other rule for me. Just survive. Don't die.
So now let's talk about your DJing. Sun's going down. Where would be your favourite place in Vietnam to just be chilling to those vibes at sunset spot in Vietnam?
I had like a great sunset in Phu Quoc at Episode Festival. That's at Sunset Sanato. It's on the west side, kind of like in the middle of the island. It's beautiful there. There's beautiful, but I went to Dalat 2 weeks ago, and they have incredible sunset. I think no one really knows about them, but they have a lot of coffee shops where it's epic. You see the mountains and you see the sun like so clear and red. It's beautiful. But I think with the Phu Quoc, Dalat, I think everywhere, like also in Saigon, they have dope sunsets.
Oh, it's one of my favorite things about not just Vietnam, but Southeast Asia. When I first came here, it was like, wow. Because I think it's just, nearer the equator, it's just different here. It's redder, it's different colors. It's so just incredible. Yeah.
Like, Phu Quoc is more like red-orange. Saigon is sometimes super red.
Depends on the pollution that
day, actually. And Hanoi, I haven't really seen the suns. It's always very dusty, I think, because of this pollution too. That's very clear, the sunset. I would love to see a sunset in Sapa, actually. I haven't seen one there because I haven't really noticed that. But one thing that I've noticed is that Vietnamese people don't know the sunset vibe that much yet. I don't know why. They see it every day, or maybe they're used to it. But it's so beautiful here.
Probably, yeah, maybe because we're not used to it, so we appreciate it more like anything, right?
Appreciate so much, so much.
No, I haven't asked yet. Do you speak Vietnamese?
Yes, I do.
How good is your Vietnamese?
I think I wouldn't say it's like super. I think I'm fluent, but my writing is sometimes a bit like I write without any like how you say accents? Diacritics. Yeah, I'm not really.
I
good
called
at
them
that.
accents one time when I got corrected on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's like it's diacritics, not accents.
It's diacritics.
Yeah.
Probably I could. But it's good. I speak northern. The northern.
Oh, you did the northern accent,
yeah,
right?
the northern accent.
So what do you say when you're in a beer club? Hi.
So,
Yeah.
not yo.
Not yo.
But now here, of course, I do yo. Modhaba so.
Again, for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, there's different dialects and accents between north and south. And when you're drinking beer in Vietnam, in the north, they say,
So.
well, give me the whole chant.
1, 2, 3, so.
And in the south,
1, 2, 3, yo.
it's one of the small differences that I know, but there are many differences, right? So what's your most useful Vietnamese phrase?
Most used.
Useful.
Useful. I say, đi chơi đi. Đi chơi is like, let's go play, you know? Đi chơi. Đi chơi. There's not a real like cool translation for that. Đi chơi.
No?
No, I don't think so. Đi chơi is like when you go out to... So when you're like a small kid, đi chơi is like you go play with your friends. When you get older, it's basically you go to the club or you go have fun with your friends.
That's cool.
It's a cute one, yeah.
I like that one. Đi chơi.
Đi chơi.
Nice. I'm probably saying it wrong though, right?
No, you said perfectly.
Did I say it all right? Are you sure about that?
Yeah, sure.
Now, so you've been coming to Vietnam on and off for many years, obviously, with your family. And Vietnam has changed massively in the past 20 years. Would you rather live here now or would you rather live in Vietnam 20 years ago?
20 years ago, it was like the 80s. Wow, I think every time has a very interesting character. I don't know, like I live now, so of course I just live it because I adapt to the time. But I'm also really interested what it would have been like 20 years ago, you know? I was here already 20 years ago because I was 11, so yeah.
19.
19. Yeah, and I couldn't really say because I was very young and I didn't really understand the culture that much. So it was very interesting for me. But I think my age now, living 20, I would, yeah, for sure. Why not? Like riding buffaloes and stuff. I was doing that when I came to Vietnam the first time, you know, and like chilling, like rice fields and houses were much less developed. But I think, yeah, why not? Less pollution, maybe, you know, less bikes. I think Vietnam probably was very different, and every new development was probably much more appreciated than now. I think it's growing so fast. So I think every time has like a beautiful thing. But of course, I'm super happy to be here now. Like let's not put it wrong.
It's a difficult question, right? People have very similar answers to you when I ask this question. Yeah. Now, final question is, what's missing from Vietnam?
Yeah, great techno party. Like a Berlin club. Yeah, I think so.
Is that something that you maybe would be looking at in the future, one of those opportunities?
I mean, to open a club is like a huge responsibility, I think. But as I said, again, baby steps, you know?
Yeah.
Baby steps. Like me being a DJ now, I think I've always already done like a mini step towards that. But let's see. I don't know. I'm really excited what's going to happen in the future here in Vietnam because every day I wake up, it changes so much. And I can't keep up with it sometimes, you know?
If you had a club here or anywhere in the world, what would be the name of your club?
Oh my God, that's so hard, the question. Raven Crave, I don't know.
Raven Crave. Well, look, thank you so much. It's been amazing chatting to you. It's funny because I saw that article on Vice and I saw you on there and I was like, ooh, she'd be a great guest on the podcast. And literally like a day or two later, Lewis was like, hey, I'm doing some work with this DJ called Levi Oi. And like I told her about the podcast, she'd be interested in coming on. I was like, I'm interested in having her on. So it was
yeah, it's so perfect. That's why I believe in like, you know, like just be open-minded, I think. And of course, I'm not like, this is like also the first time on the podcast, but I think that's why I do it because I just want to seek out new experiences also while being here in Saigon. I'm really happy to be here, and it was such a great chat.
Yeah, awesome. So before you go, tell people where they can find you, follow you, watch you, listen to your music. How can people connect with Levi Oi?
On Instagram, Levi Oi, or on my SoundCloud to listen to my music. On Instagram, I post like my daily life or just like some pictures, the Instagram game. And otherwise, in the future, I hope to do more events. So just, I hope to see you guys there. Or I'm always, I'm always trying to create new stuff. So I hope that our paths will cross.
Awesome. And I'm looking forward to come and seeing you DJ one day soon.
Yes, also. Yeah, exactly. That's for sure something.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
You've been listening to 7 Million Bikes, a Vietnam podcast with me, Niall Mackay. And a massive thank you to my guest this week, Levi Oi. That was a really awesome episode. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. It was nice to reminisce about the old Glasgow nightclubs like Sub Club and the Archies. And I always love to talk about the Chemical Brothers as well. So sorry if I mentioned that too much. Look out for more of Levi Oi in the future. She's obviously breaking out, massively popular DJ now and doing some exciting things. And hopefully maybe I'll get to work with her again in the future. As we finish up season 5, thank you so much to everyone for listening to this episode and anyone who's been listening to all the episodes this season. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. We will be back very, very shortly. I want to give a massive thank you again to our Patreon members, Brandon Thompson and Zion Johnson. I also want to say a massive thank you to Lewis Wright for everything he does to support the podcast. Nguyen as well, who's always been supporting 7 Million Bikes from the beginning and will continue to do so. And also a massive thank you again to Devin Gray for helping set up the new 7 Million Bikes website. Check it out, 7millionbikes.com. I couldn't have done that without him. And last of all, the biggest, best and most thank you of all to my wife, Adri Lopez Mackay. Should I add, long-suffering wife. She is my biggest fan and also my biggest critic, which I love. She listens to every episode. She loves them, and she's also giving me pointers on what to do better and giving me little bits of critique. So this podcast couldn't happen without her. So thank you so much, Adri. You know I love you so much and I couldn't do this without you. So thank you again to everyone who's been listening to 7 Million Bikes, a Vietnam podcast. I hope you can keep listening in for future episodes, which will be coming very, very soon. And I hope to see you at one of my comedy events soon. Cheers. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're like me, you may use your laptop at places where you have to use public Wi-Fi. This opens you up to digital snoopers. It's a massive problem. It can be your internet service provider, or you know who, looking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal trying to steal your bank passwords or credit card info, or even a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. These days, it is vital that you keep your data safe. NordVPN keeps all of these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites that are phishing for your data, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. And it's easy to use, even I could use it. I've actually been using NordVPN for years now here in Vietnam, and I'm excited to be an affiliate partner with them. I've used NordVPN to watch Netflix, BBC, Disney Plus with ease. And I also know that my information and data are safe from prying eyes, whoever they may be. Join now and you'll get 68% off and 3 months free when you go to my link, nordvpn.com/SMB. Just again, for those hard of hearing, nordvpn.com/SMB. The link is also in the show notes. I know nobody checks them out, but go check that out and you can get the link from wherever you are listening to this podcast. As an affiliate partner, it also means that I will get a small commission when you sign up, but at no extra cost to you. So not only will you be getting a great deal through 7 Million Bikes, you get a great VPN and you'll be supporting 7 Million Bikes podcast. Stay safe online and enjoy the shows you love. Any questions, just let me know. You know how to get in touch with me. And thanks for listening to this show. Cheers.